Landon's also a vet of the Rudder Room. Landon's made the excursion. Landon has seen the Rudder Room, which if you've never been to Cowboys training camp, it's a very bad dive bar that's cash only, and by very bad I mean right up my alley.
I was gonna say, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. So we're happy to have Landon on because he is a Rudder Room vet, and that holds a lot of sway with me when it comes to talking about the Dallas Cowboys. If you've never been there, I can't respect your takes. So we're happy to have Landon joining us. Make sure you're listening to the Locked On Cowboys podcast, okay? How about that? Great. Drew Lock, it looks like, is going to play instead of Tommy DeVito, which I think means the Cowboys have a worse chance to win the football game, even though it's still pretty good. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, simply the fact that he knows at least 100% more Yeezy lyrics than Tommy DeVito probably does. That makes him, initially just a higher swag level than Tommy Cutlets, even, frankly, which, Tommy definitely has more swag than Daniel Jones. So I do think that inserting a backup quarterback is always a fun little circus that happens right before a game. And this is the kind of thing that really usually throws the Cowboys for a complete loop, right? Like it's something that they can't usually get over, or at least it causes them to stumble at times when you don't expect it. So I don't imagine that it's going to have a huge effect on the Giants' ability to win this game. But again, like it's Thanksgiving, it's the Giants, and it's the Cowboys. Like anything can happen here.
So Landon, we have a segment that you just missed out on that we do. We have Cowboys win Cowboys win because, Cowboys lose because. And so since you're here with us, give us your Cowboys win because and Cowboys lose because.
Cowboys win because the defense is trending in the right direction. They start to get some health. I mean, it doesn't look like Trayvon's going to make it back this week. But having Parsons back these last few weeks has made a difference. We've seen a rise in the play of Chauncey Golson. I think Mozzie Smith has been playing better football these last 2 weeks, which I think has also helped Osa kind of play a little bit better in the middle. So you're getting better defensive tackle play. I think the Cowboys win because the defense is starting to figure some things out, and this Giants offense just isn't very good outside of Malik Nabers. It was an interesting. I was listening to you guys talk about Malik Nabers and the ability to be able to stop him versus what they did versus Terry McLaurin. I think it's going to be a very similar task because Cliff Kingsbury famously does not move around his wide receivers, and Terry was on the left side of the field almost the entire game, except for his 80-plus yard touchdown when he lined up on the right side. The Cowboys didn't know what to do because they're like, he's never lined up there before. And I think Malik Nabers may have a similar situation, right? He doesn't line up in the slot. He doesn't kind of move around a ton. I do expect him to maybe move around a little bit more than Scary Terry, but I do think that the Cowboys should be able to handle it. And the Cowboys lose because their offense kind of continues to pitter and putter and not kind of figure things out and play poorly on third down. If they can figure out to kind of lead into Rico in the run game a little bit, I think that they found something last week in that. I think Rico's running the ball better. I think the offensive line just seems more comfortable run blocking right now, especially with the injuries they've got. But if they kind of continue to just get up and down the field without putting the ball in the end zone consistently, especially against this Giants defense that, is depleted and they should be putting the ball in the end zone. That I have a feeling that the Cowboys may not win this game, and they're, the ball will bounce weird and the Giants will get a weird touchdown and the Cowboys will lose by a field goal or something.
Landon, I know you watched it too, but at the end of Sounds from the Sideline, you saw Chauncey Golson saying, "Hey, we're about to go win 6 straight games and end this thing on a winning streak." I think if they're going to do that, odds are against it, but it's on the backs of Cooper Rush. Let's, in terms of, that's the difference maker. Cooper Rush played well last week. His third start in a row. What is your confidence in the Cooper Rush-led Cowboys offense after last week?
I mean, I think I feel confident in Cooper Rush, playing like he normally does. The whole thing with Cooper Rush is that he needs to play within himself, right? Like the problem that the Cowboys are in is that when Cooper Rush was, the backup quarterback who came in for Dak previously, he had a lot more weapons around him to kind of throw the ball and a lot, more talented players. I think right now you need to see some of these younger players start to step up and develop. You need to see some of these guys kind of, take some of these short passes and turn them into long gains. You need to see a guy like Tolbert take his game to the next level because obviously the Giants are going to be fully focused on CeeDee Lamb and not letting him get the ball. And I don't think Ferguson's going to play this week, but when he comes back, he will also be a focal point for defenses. The Cowboys have got to find somebody else who can start making play. And maybe it's Turpin, maybe that's what we've seen these last few weeks. Maybe it's someone like that who can come in and turn a short pass into a long touchdown for Cooper Rush, because that's really the difference between a backup quarterback and a starting quarterback like Dak Prescott, is that Cooper can play against these defenses. He can be smart with the football, but he can't, he's not going to consistently make big plays down the field that you need to win the game. You're going to have to rely on your playmakers to kind of produce that for you.
This is Landon McCool from the Locked On Cowboys podcast and a friend of the broadcast. The Turpin thing is always interesting because I think we've all seen just the way that he moves and the way that he can do on returns. And you constantly are thinking, wait, if you don't have good wide receivers, how in the world can you not figure out how to make it work with him? Do you think that is a possibility, or has it been long enough that you look at it and you just go, okay, like, yes, he can run like that. Yes, he can move like that, but he just doesn't have the wide receiver things.
Let me turn this back on you, Jeff, real quick, because you were at training camp. What did you think when you saw Turpin playing wide receiver at camp? Did you feel like he could come in and produce as a wide receiver?
I was actually surprised, because even when they were down in the red zone, like, you could run him on a dig and he was making contested catches. Like, I thought he played well above what I thought he had as a receiver based on the way they had used him and what we had seen. And then I don't think we've necessarily seen it translate in the regular season this year or over the course of his career. And so I don't know. So I just get stuck in the place of watching him return and being like, damn it, you really can't figure out how to make that work on offense?
Well, I completely agree. That's what I saw too, is I saw a guy that I was excited to see as part of the offense, go from training camp and going into the season. He got some opportunities at times, and it felt like he was inconsistent at finishing in the regular season that we didn't see so much in the training camp, right? Like, he was better at finishing in the training camp. So I tend to think, look, that first touchdown, was it last week? He ran, I think that was the first slant I've seen him catch this year, right? And it's stuff like that we should be seeing more of him doing, right? Like, opportunities to get him the ball on the move and then try to weaving through the defense. Like, that's what he does, like, better almost in the NFL. So I think that's going to be something that's going to be really key for the Cowboys, is trying to find a way to kind of get him involved so that they can produce big plays and not have to just heave the ball down the field to CeeDee Lamb in double coverage and hope he comes down with it.
Landon, 3 questions / predictions for you. Okay. I want a prediction for the game. I want an X factor. And then this prediction: will Jesse punch Jeff before Thanksgiving is here?
I was watching that, and I was really, really hoping that I was going to be on the air to watch Jesse punch Jeff. But
I mean, we can make it happen.
I was going to say, make it happen.
We don't have to wait any. I mean, I got a little bit more time left.
Jeff took a deep inhale. No, can't punch him. Look at him.
If by talking about it I can make it happen, then I'm going to bet yes, it will happen.
I love Jeff.
What were the other 2 questions? I'm sorry, X factors for the game?
Game prediction and X factor.
I think the punch thing really got me.
This one, violence.
X factor. I do think I heard somebody mentioning while I was on backstage, Wan'Dale Robinson, and I do think that he's a guy that he could potentially be the fly in the ointment for the Cowboys, right? Because this is a guy that if they are going to give a lot of attention to neighbors, he can kind of go unnoticed and he can beat, single coverage. And he's a guy that is explosive with the ball in his hands and dangerous. So if they get lots of opportunities to get him the ball on the move, there's going to be a chance that he's going to be running through the secondary and maybe able to score some points that you didn't necessarily expect. Having said all of that, and if you're asking me to pick a winner, I'm picking the Cowboys, because I just think that the Giants, despite these 2 teams not being very good, the Cowboys are currently trending at least in the correct direction, whereas the Giants are kind of sinking further and further into the muck, it feels like. So I'll pick the Cowboys to win 24-17. I actually think it may be not even that close of a game, but maybe like the Giants score late to make it a little bit closer. I just think right now, not that the Cowboys are playing great, it's just the Giants are playing really, really poorly, and the Cowboys at least are feeling better about themselves this week.
Landon McCool, Locked On Cowboys. Thank you, Landon. Have a great day. We love you.
Bye, Landon.
Thank you, guys. Love you too.
We all silly like the mayor.